and providential goodness, has appointed the offices of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of humankind. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of such important trusts in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the good of those whose interests you have committed to our charge, all which we ask in the name and for the sake of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Good afternoon, honorable senators and ministers. I have an announcement. I would like to inform the Senate that I have received the Biological and Toxin Weapons Crimes Bill, HB 9A of 2025, from the National Assembly. Are there any notices of motions? Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was to move that this House take note of the report of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission for Nkulumane National Assembly constituency by-election held on the 20th of December 2025, presented to this House of Parliament in terms of Section 241 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states that in addition to the report it is required to submit in terms of Section 323, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission must without delay and through the appropriate minister submit a report to Parliament on the conduct of every election and every referendum. So I move, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minister. You have another notice?
Yeah, I have.
Please,
5 more. Yes. I raise once again, Mr. President, that this House take note of the report of the Judicial Service Commission for the year 2025, presented to this House of Parliament in terms of Section 323(1) of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states that every commission must submit to Parliament through the responsible minister an annual report describing fully its operations and activities. So I submit. Once again, I move that this House take note of the report of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission for the year 2025, presented to this House of Parliament in terms of Section 323 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states that every commission must submit to Parliament through the responsible minister an annual report describing fully its operations and activities. Once again, Mr. President, I rise to move that this House take note of the report of the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission for the year 2025, presented to this House of Parliament in terms of Section 323 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states that every commission must submit to Parliament through the responsible minister an annual report describing fully its operations and activities. I move once again, Mr. President, that this House take note of the Zimbabwe Independence Complaints Commission 2025 annual report presented to this House of Parliament in terms of Section 323(1) of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states that every commission must submit to Parliament through the responsible minister an annual report describing fully its operations and activities. The report being submitted not later than the end of March in the year following the year to which the report relates. I so submit, Mr. President. Once again, I move that this House take note of the report of the Office of the Attorney General for the year 2025, presented to this House of Parliament in terms of Section 7 of the Attorney General's Office Act, Chapter 7.19, which provides that the board shall, as soon as possible after the end of each financial year, submit an annual report to the minister, and the minister shall lay before Parliament every annual report submitted to him or her by the board in terms of the Act. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Mboa.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to give notice that tomorrow, 5 August 2026, I will give a report on the 70th session of the Commission of the Status Women CSW 70, which took place from the 9th to the 19th of March 2026 at the United Nations headquarters, New York City in the United States of America. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you. Any further notices of motions? If there are no further notices of motions, I would like to remind honorable senators to put your gadgets on silent, or better still, switch them off. Honorable Minister, Dinha.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that notices of motions number 1 to 3 for today be stood over until the rest of the orders of the day have been disposed of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister is moving that we stand over orders of the day number 1 up to number 3 until all the other orders have been disposed of. Is there an objection?
No objection.
No objection. The clerk will read the 4th order of the day.
Committee Organizational Safety and Health Bill, HB 6 2025.
The whole House will be in committee.
Order, honorable members. The committee of the whole house will take into consideration the Occupational Safety and Health HB 6 of 2025. Let's start now. I put number 1 short title. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 2, application and object of act. Is there any debate? Any objection?
Debate.
Honorable Tshabangu.
Madam President, I propose that we insert, because there's no consultation in terms of the ILO. So we said the consultation shall be between the labor based on the Convention 1976. So, in fact, what we want is the tripartite, the inclusion of a tripartite. So that is labor, government, and business.
Honorable Tshabangu, have you finished?
Yes.
So that I give the minister to respond. Is there any debate? Honorable Minister, to give the clarification.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would like the Honorable Senator to clarify on that, on the inclusion of tripartite. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Tshabangu.
I think every member of international organization which ratifies the convention undertakes to operate under tripartite theme as the structure. So government should not really work on its own, but they should really consult under that armpit of the tripartite, so that we don't have the capture of the institution by the government of the day.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Right now we are at clause 2. We are dealing with clause 2, and the issue of the inclusion of tripartite will go as we move with the bill. Right now it's not necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Is there any objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 3, interpretation. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 4, Establishment of Occupational Safety and Health Department. Is there any debate? An objection? No objection, I agreed to. I put clause 5. Establishment of Medical Bureau of Occupational Diseases. Is there any debate? An objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 6. Duties of Bureau. Is there any objection, any debate? Any objection? I put clause 7. Remuneration of Bureau. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 8. Summoning and examining of witnesses by Bureau. Is there any debate? Any objection? I put clause 9. Decision of Bureau to be binding. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 10. Occupational health services. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 11. Prohibition of employment of workers in specified working environment. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 12. Promotion of occupational safety and health. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 13. Roles, duties, and responsibilities of employers. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 14. Rights, roles, duties, and responsibilities of workers. Is there any debate?
Debate.
Yes, Honorable Chairman.
There's no specification of the representatives of workers. Unions should be registered. So it can't say workers. It should be workers of a registered union. Registered unions.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam President. Here, our reference to workers is all workers. Since this bill is dealing with all workers, protecting all workers, so when we say workers, even those who are not members of the union are also included. That's why there's this with workers, because it's everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable
Follow up,
Minister.
but the idea of an act is to ensure that workers are registered. You are working as a tripartite at national level because those organizations are registered. So you can't meet a tripartite. An employer, there are so many employers at tripartite level. I mean, so many employers in the country. There are so many workers in the country. So when we put the law, it should encourage everyone to register, because government cannot meet employers that are not registered. Government cannot meet workers that are not registered. So it defeats the whole purpose of you meeting a tripartite level, and then the tripartite level is not being encouraged by the same players at national level. Yes, the Act will say it represents all workers, but workers must be registered through unions.
Thank you, Honorable Tshabangu, for your view. Any objection? Honorable Tshiza.
I've got a debate, Madam President. I think the absurdity the minister is saying is that she can just walk down First Street and say, you come and represent workers. Is that practicable?
Honorable Minister, to respond.
Thank you, Madam President. As I have said earlier, the idea of the bill is to protect the working people. And we know that there are unions. Unions are there. That's why on clause 14.1 it says, from 2 and 3, workers and their representatives. Representatives meaning their unions, wherever they are, the union they have joined. So here we are talking about workers, and on 2 and 3 there is reference to their representatives. So those are their unions. Thank you.
No, Honorable Tshabangu, I haven't given you the floor.
Okay.
Why can't you wait still until I give you the floor? Honorable Tshabangu.
To the minister in response is that law should define. You should not make anybody out there to speculate. What do you mean by representative? I can get a lawyer to represent me. I can get a friend to represent me. We have to ensure that these are registered unions. Unless if you want just to run this thing with yourselves and then we just go, but you are creating a mess. Some of us come from the labor. What do you lose by putting and setting a term to indicate that these are registered? They should be represented by their registered unions.
Honorable Mavenyengo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this clause is correct as it is, because when we say workers, I think we are including those in the workers' union. And if those, I'm debating.
Point of order.
I want to debate. I'm not answering for the minister.
Point of order. I need to have debater.
Minister must respond. You are not the minister. You are not the minister. We are not debating.
Honorable members.
Hey, respect us.
Honorable senators.
No, minister has to respond first.
Honorable Tshabangu.
No, we
don't say, we don't.
It doesn't work like that. You are not the minister there.
Yes,
the minister is there to respond. Why you respond on behalf of the minister? No, you can't respond on behalf of
Point of order, sit down.
Thank you, Madam President. My point of order. No, I've got a point of order, Madam President. I've got a point of order.
The point of order must be taken.
No, I think it's unfair. I've got a point of order which must be responded to.
But the point of order.
What have you said about my point of order? Have you
I
put
said
this
she
up?
must sit down. I didn't take his motion, his debate.
Sorry?
I didn't take his debate. I want the minister to respond what you said. No. I want the minister to respond what you said. Yes, he debated, you debated, then I want the minister to respond. I don't want the Honorable Mavengo to respond, I want the minister to respond. Honorable Minister, I give you the floor to give the clarity.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Like I said, the idea is to protect all workers, working people, whether they are involved with unions or not, because some workers are not registered with unions. So if you want, we can include the definition of representatives, then we include the unions. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Is there any debate? Any objection?
I think
We have got a debate.
his proposal in the definitions. So we have to go back to the definitions. This is what you are saying.
Honorable Tshabangu,
Because he has made
can
a
you put it
proposal.
again, your question
He
again?
has made a proposal that we should include the unions in the definition. So I'm saying, should we go back to the definitions? I didn't quite get your proposal, the last part of your proposals.
Can we have the amendment written down so that we don't mix in everything? Please, can we have the amendment written down?
Is the minister proposed? Because I proposed and he rejected and then put a counter proposal. So you should put it down.
I think the minister have clarified. So I say, can you put the amendment so that we have the amendment down in writing?
Madam President, in writing. So the minister is responding to the amendments that I have put in writing and submitted to you. But
Honorable Minister,
she is suggesting.
can you come this side to the chair, please? Can you approach the chair? Order, Honorable Senators. I now recognize the Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, on the issue of the workers and the unions, we are not amending anything because if we refer to clause 40, there's inclusion of tripartism and is the establishment of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Council. And there's the issue of the employees' organizations. These employees' organizations are the unions. It means any organization, trade union, or association formed to represent. So I think in clause 14 is clear. So deal with that one when we get to clause 14. And on clause 14, it says workers and representatives. And representatives can be lawyers or trade unions. So it's carrying its literal meaning. So when we define it, it becomes discriminatory. So we are not going to define representative because it's clear in clause 14 and also clause 14. Thank you.
Any objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 15, roles, duties and responsibilities of designers, manufacturers, importers, sellers, distributors and suppliers. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 16, prohibition of victimization and wages deduction in relation to occupational safety and health. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 17, registration of workplaces. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 18, register of workplace premises. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 19, transfer and surrender of certificate of registration. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 20, submission of plans for building or alteration of building. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 21, machinery, safety and registration. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 22, register and notification of occupational accidents and diseases. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 23, appointment of inspectors. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 24, powers of inspectors. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 25, powers of entry and search. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 26. Investigations of accidents by inspectors. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 27. Disclosure of confidential information. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 28. Improvement notice. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 29. Prohibition notices. Is there any debate? Any objection? I put clause 30. Are powers of inspector as to certain defects remediable by other competent authorities. Is there debate? Any debate? Objection? I put clause 31. Service of notice under this act. Is there any debate? Any objection? I put clause 32. Establishment of Occupational Safety and Health Appeals Board. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 33. Offences and penalties. Is there any debate?
Debate.
Honorable Chair.
I propose that we insert corporate liability and deterrent penalties. The justification is that you can't replace life. And most companies, they fail to take responsibility if something happens or if an employee dies at workplace level. So this amendment introduces corporate and personal accountability where offenses, where an offense causes death and penalty disability. The company faces a minimum of 50,000. So that we have these deterrent penalties, because they are not even prescribed. The Act doesn't prescribe the penalties when an employee dies at work through negligence, not negligence caused by him or her as an employee, but by the company.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you look at Section 45, it says any person who causes the death of another person at the workplace shall be guilty of an offense and the provisions of Section 49 of the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act, and shall apply with necessary changes to the sentencing of such guilty persons. So on the death of a person, I think we have to refer to the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Minister.
But my point, yes, I've seen that, but my point is, Honorable Minister, you go everywhere. In the SADC, there's a prescription. There's a prescription. The law should define that there's an employee who died at work because of the negligence of the management or the company. This is defined. So if we don't do adherent penalties like that, people are going to continue dying in their workplaces. They continue to die, and I don't think we make laws to ensure that people die in their workplaces. We make laws so that we protect workers and everyone else at workplace so that they don't succumb to a negligence caused by the employer. What is the harm to prescribe? Prescribe if it's proven beyond any reasonable doubt in any court of law that the employer was negligent. This is the prescription that you are supposed to compensate. You can't replace the life. If I can push back to you, Minister, now, if an employee dies,
Direct you to,
Okay.
to the chair.
Madam President,
Yes.
if I can have a pushback to him, to her, and say, what is the cost, what is the compensation for an employee who dies at work when the employer didn't put measures that are required in terms of law?
Thank you, Honorable Tshabangu, for your input. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We also want to thank the honorable member for the contributions. But I feel if we take a closer look of the Act, clearly Section 35 spells out what is prescribed in the event that an employer causes or is negligent to the extent of causing death of another. It's very clear that it's prescribing the prescription in terms of Section 49 of the Criminal Law Codification Act, Chapter 9.23. So if ever we are to interpret the offences and penalties chapter, we have to refer it to Section 49 of the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act. So we cannot say it has not been spelled out. It has been clearly prescribed. And if you go to Section 49, it clearly shows, because that is culpable homicide. So when it has already been legislated, what's the point of legislating again? When it has already been spelled out, whenever there's a culpable homicide offense, it has been spelled out. Where is the harm in this act by referring it to another piece of legislation? So I feel it is the issue of referencing or referring clauses to another clauses. It's not new in our legislation when we do legislate.
Pushback.
Thank you, Honorable.
A pushback. Minister, Madam President, my apologies. We are talking about issues to do with labor. This is why we've got a labor court. This is why it's distinguished. Issues of labor are separate. You can't take a labor issue to the High Court because we have independent issues. So why should we go to a criminal? This is not a criminal act. This is not a criminal conduct. It's a labor issue. We should be prescribed. So I take some, if an employee goes to the labor court, he dies, the families, they want to sue the company, they are referred back to the criminal act. Why should our laws and labor be streamlined? We have independently streamlined them. Have courts, there's a labor officer, there's a labor court, you know. So these are issues of labor. Why should we intertwine them with the criminal act?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think the honorable member is missing the point here. Indeed, we are discussing about labor issues. But when it comes to sentencing and the nature of any transaction that would have happened, for instance, now we are dealing with labor, of course, but now we are now talking of culpable homicide. That is criminal in nature there is a criminal penalty to it which has been well defined before. Of course, the cause of action would have happened in a labor setting, at a workplace, but however, when there is death of another person, then it becomes culpable homicide. It has to be dealt with in terms of criminal law, because it's already criminal law already.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Minister, can you continue? Can you clarify
Yes.
so that we...
No, they
Yes.
intercepted by... The moment there is negligence, whether at a workplace or anywhere, the moment there is negligence to the extent of causing the death of another, it becomes culpable homicide. So there is no harm in us dealing or concentrating with the criminal law codification reform. I don't see, it doesn't interfere with any worker-employer relationship in so many ways. But as soon as we have that situation, it becomes culpable homicide, and it has to be dealt with in terms of criminal law codification reform act. So as it is, by referring the penalty, it is also deterrent enough by criminalizing any action which leads to the death of another. It clearly shows that the legislature here has clearly spelled out the deterrent measure in the event that you are negligent of leaving or not giving adequate protection to the workers. I so submit, Madam Chair.
Madam President.
If that is the case, why not import it and put it there? Because the circumstances are different. A culpable homicide, if someone runs over someone by a car, and that's a criminal act. But it's not as the same as you are not given a protective clothing at your workplace, and then you die. Those circumstances will be different. They will be argued different. So if indeed, Minister, let me give you an example. If you go to South Africa today, you are... Okay.
Madam President, I have got something to where I need some clarifications. Madam President, I think here we are dealing with a double-edged sword. That this capable homicide has happened at a place of work in line to do with the things to do with the labor. After the person has been the company has been convicted of capable homicide, what is the compensation? That in the criminal side, it has proven that there was negligence and it has been treated as capable homicide. But on the act, what is it now suggesting as compensation to that has been proven by the courts? That is, I think, where the beef is. That the act should also say, if proven guilty in the court, in the criminal court, then there's such and such a penalty as to compensation. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First and foremost, let me address the issue which has been said before in respect of culpable homicide. Whether the definition of culpable homicide is when you unintentionally cause the death of another, and maybe you've been negligent in doing so. So whether it has happened in the road or at a workplace or anywhere, but if you cause the death of another unintentionally, it becomes culpable homicide. So it is okay for it to be dealt with, as I have said earlier on. But also in respect of the issues raised by another member, honorable member, there are procedures which are already clearly laid out in the event that you succeed maybe in a criminal matter, you can still pursue for damages in the court. So we might not need to over-legislate when we are crafting laws. So we still have so many avenues where you can seek recourse in that regard. But primarily this piece of legislation is dealing with the need to protect the workers at the workplace. So we might not need to over-legislate the way we intend to do here, in as much as we need to protect our workers.
Any objection, honorable members? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 34. Disclosure of certain information prohibited. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 35. Locking of workplaces. Is there any debate? Objection? Agreed to. I put clause 36. General prohibitions. Is there any debate? Objection? No objection, agreed to. I put clause 37. Fund. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 38. Funding of occupational safety and health programs. Is there any debate?
Debate?
I recognize you now, Honorable Tshabangu.
Thank you, Madam President. It's not 38.B2, donations. There is no act where it can operate on donations. You can't rely on donations. The theory of putting an act, there has to be a levy, which is you can control, which you can ring fence, which can predetermine the future. So donations, where are you going to get these donations from? If they don't come, what happens? So I propose that we introduce a 0.5% levy. A 0.5% levy is about $3 based on the current salaries of the employees now. But the challenge is that these levies, no pezera za waka mkwakwa, no pezera patadama civil servants.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Tshabangu, for your observation. Thank you very much. Is there any objection?
No, Minister has to respond. To the Minister, I put a very fundamental amendment.
A proposal.
Yeah, proposal.
Minister, there comes a proposal.
Thank you, Madam President. I also want to thank the honorable member and honorable Senator. You are right, we can't rely on donations only, but if we revert to clause 38, it says on B, there are also fees charged by the authority. So these fees can act as the fees, the funding. Then we can't block anyone who wants to donate. And you have also talked about the workers, the 3%. I think workers are already overtaxed, so we can't burden them with the 3%. Thank you.
Madam President, I have never seen an act where you write donations. Donations from who? Let's remove that. Donations from who? Who donates? No, you can't supplement an act. If I donate today as an individual, then I have taken charge of that act. That's point number one, Madam President. We can't put donations on an act. Who are you receiving these monies from? The minister gives you, or other organizations, civic organizations, they donate.
Okay.
And then how would you account that amount? And again, on number two, he should prescribe, if there are any funds, the law must expressly spell them out. Those funds that we're talking about. It's silent. How is this going to be funded?
Okay, Honorable Tshabangu. Let's leave it to the minister to respond. Honorable Minister, about donations, where will they come from? Oh, well wishers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We appreciate the sentiments being raised by Honorable Member Tshabangu. But I hasten to point out, Madam Chair, that the qualms which the Honorable Member is indicating are in respect of donations, putting donations in the legislation. I'm of the opinion that there is nothing wrong. We actually have several acts which deals with, which also includes even donations when legislating. So maybe we would want, maybe what we'll do is maybe we may seek to clarify as to the inclusion of the actual percentage or the text which is referred to. But the issue of donation, it can be, there can be a donation from anyone. And I may want to seek further clarification as where is the harm, because donation may come from anyone, but in the legislation, if it is being allowed, it can still be regulated through by regulations. We can have regulations which dictate a manner in which that donation can be accepted. That can be dealt in regulations. But to say or to indicate donation in an act, I would not see anything wrong with that. If I would have had examples, I would have, but they are there where sections or acts where the inclusion of donations will be there in our legislation. So I submit, Madam Chair.
Any objection? No objection. Agreed to. I put
Madam President, he suggested a levy, and we are on this one. When is he going to look at that levy that I suggested? In his response, he said we will look into it. That's critical, Madam President. At what stage are they going to look into it when we have passed this bill?
But thank you for your input, Honorable. He has responded.
Yes, I agree, Madam President. He responded that they are going to look into the levy. And I'm suggesting, at what stage are they going to look into those levies? Because we're actually dealing with the amendment now.
Thank you, Madam President. If we go to 38A, it's funding by the fund to the extent permitted under fourth schedule. And when we go, if we go to fourth schedule, there's the assessment paid by employers under this scheme, and also money is paid by employers to the general manager under this scheme, and money is paid as penalties interest from investments of funds, any money is transferred in terms of paragraph 3 C. So you can see that there is no need for the percentage that that we can charge the workers, because the monies are there, the funding is there, and also we cannot remove donations, because even any company receives donations, even the government receives donations. So we can't block anyone who wants to donate. So you can see that in terms of that, there is a lot of funding. So there is no need to charge the 3%, to overburden the workers with the 3% charge from their salaries. Thank you, Madam President.
Agreed, no objection, agreed to. I put clause 39, audit. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 40, establishment of the Zimbabwe Occupational Safety and Health Advisory Council. Is there any debate? Debate. Honorable Tshabangu.
Madam President, the minister appoints all these members. And point number 1, again I will put the amendment that I suggested earlier, that one representative from the registered employers organization. You just said 6 representatives from the employer organizations. Which employer organizations? There are quite a number of them. But they have to be registered, because we will speak about tripartite. And I also want the chairperson, just like what happens at the tripartite level, you have a rotational that the chairperson, after a certain period of time, the labor chairs, the business chairs on a rotational basis. So, but my 2 fundamental submissions that it has to be clear which organizations here.
Honorable Minister to respond.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't see anything wrong for the minister to appoint the representatives that are stated here. And as we were saying, here in clause 40, that's where there is inclusion of tripartite. And also any organization is chaired by the chairperson. You can't say they rotate, there will be the chairperson or maybe the vice chairperson. So we can't say this one chairs, this one chairs. And in the case of the employer organizations, it says there is 6 representatives from the employer organizations. And when you are talking of tripartism, we don't deal with unregistered organizations, or organizations that will deal with registered, whether they are employer organizations or employee organizations. Thank you, Madam President.
Madam President, I hear the minister. But the point that we are trying to drive home is that we should not assume when we are making law. We should not assume when we are making law. What is the harm, Honorable Minister? And, okay, a deviation from my point. You are dealing with... Honorable Madam President, you are dealing with registered organization, and I'm glad that you have said that yourself. And how does the minister appoint members? It is the organization. Minister should seek the names from the organization.
Thank you, Honorable Tshabangu.
I'm not yet done, Madam President. I want to make my point.
Can you make your point so that the minister responds?
Yes. The minister should not appoint. He should get the members that are seconded by registered. But when you say minister appoints, tomorrow he is going to appoint. He is given the power to appoint someone from ZCTU, to appoint someone from ZFTU, or even leave ZCTU.
Okay, you have said your point. Honorable Minister Mazungunya, can you respond?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also appreciate the sentiments read by the Honorable Member. If you are to go to Section 40, it clearly defines what in that section, subsection 1, it clearly defines what are employees' organizations. Where it says it means any organization, trade union, or association formed to represent or advance the interests of the employees or class thereof in respect of their employment. So any registered organization is defined here. And if we proceed to the employers' organizations, it is also defined as any organization or association formed to represent or advance interests of the employers or groups thereof in respect of matters relating to employment. So in that regard, organizations are clearly defined in terms of the act, in terms of the viewing rather. And if you are to proceed to subsection 2 or subsection 3 rather, it says the council shall consist of members appointed by the ministers, and it goes on to list that the members should be from the Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Health, Transport, and B, it indicates six representatives from the employers' organizations. First and foremost, the employers' organizations will be represented. And at the same token, these representatives are coming from employers' organizations. And there is no way they can appoint themselves to the council. They have to be appointed by the minister. In as much as they are drawn from representatives, they nominate, they agree, they sit wherever they sit, and they provide candidates. When they provide candidates, it is the minister who then appoints. So there is no way they can appoint themselves into the advisory council. Okay. They will be appointed by the minister. Okay. But it has to be clear in respect of the concerns that's the honorable member is raising, that these 6 representatives are coming from the organizations. So they will give their names, and the names they provide, it is the minister who then proceeds to appoint.
Thank you, Honorable.
But unless if you want it to be crafted in a different manner, but as it is, clearly members who come from the representatives, they will choose they will sit as unions and agree that so and so will be part of the council. Then the minister then appoints. So as
thank you, Honorable Minister. Any objection? No objection. Agreed to. I put clause 41. Powers of court in relation to convicted persons. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 43. accreditation of occupational safety and health service providers. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 44. Approval of codes of practice by authority. Is there any debate? Any objection? I put clause 45. Appeals against decisions of authority. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 46. Power of minister to issue directives. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 47. Regulations. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put clause 48. Repeal of chapter 1408 and chapter 1508, transitional provisions and service. Is there any debate? Any objection? I put the first schedule. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection. Agreed to. I put second schedule. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection. Agreed to. I put third schedule. Is there any debate? Any objection? Agreed to. I put fourth schedule. Is there any debate? Any objection? No objection. Agreed to. I shall now report the bill without amendment. There was no amendment.
Point of order.
What is your point of order, Sister?
Madam President, the minister proposed an amendment in this House subject to input from Senator Tshabangu.
It was explained very well, Honorable. The minister explained after that.
It was explained by the minister, said she...
We are now out of order, Honorable Tsai.
Why? Daddy? And out of order, Daddy. Don't muzzle us. I'm saying I heard clearly, following Senator Tshabangu's input, the minister came up with an alternative amendment, and she said so.
But with all due respect, Madam President, if this is the way we are going to craft laws as policymakers, then we are a disaster. Madam President, we are not here. We should not, when we make laws, we should not be partisan. The minister should be agile. The ministers, when they come and present their bills here, they should be agile to our amendment, our input. We are not rubber stampers here.
Honorable Tshabangu.
We are not rubber stampers.
No, Honorable Tshabangu. After that statement, the minister responded again.
No.
And there was
I'm giving an
objection.
I'm giving an overall view.
Oh, you are giving an overall view. Okay, we'll take you over.
We are disappointed. This attitude, this arrogance that is being perpetuated by the ministers.
To say that, Honorable.
No, I can withdraw because look,
I'm saying that allowed.
I withdraw the statement. But what I'm trying to say, Madam President, we ought to be respected. And when we make input,
Yes.
It's not that we want to go and be employed there. We are making these laws for the future.
I understand you.
Yes.
Can you see
But the ministers, they cannot come as if it was written for them.
Honorable Tshabangu, the minister is on the data management and you agreed there was
They are
no
ministers.
objection.
They know what we're talking about. We have been into the labor. We have been into the labor. We know what we're talking about. And you can't make laws like this. You can't make laws like this. This is unheard of. This is unheard of. I have to express my displeasure. I have to express. Minister should be considerate.
Honorable Tshabangu, there was no objection, Honorable Tshabangu. After the statement, no Tshabangu.
Allowed to also to listen to the member, please, Chair.
President, yeah. If they want to go if they want to parcel out the laws, they should do it on their own. They shouldn't come here. You see, no, they shouldn't come here, Madam President. Why should we give them a quorum? Why should we give them a quorum for this bill to pass? We are not going to give them a quorum for this bill to pass.
Point of order. Point of order, Madam Chair.
Right, Madam President, we don't want to be invoked like this way. We are not going to give you the quorum for this bill to pass.
Point of order. Point of order,
You
Madam.
can't be, you can't be, I mean, we are making these amendments. We have researched. We are making these amendments in the good heart, good spirit.
Point of order.
Honorable Diambi, when we did the amendment number 3, he took our amendments. He took our amendments.
Point of order.
No, we cannot do that. We can't do that. Honorable Ziambi, when we were here doing the amendment number 3, he took our amendments here. And the bill was brought back to the opposite.
Point of order. Point of order, Madam Chair. Honorable Tshabangu has given a lot of information in this room. And the ministers responded. After the ministers responded, there was no follow-up to come up with an actual amendment. And I assumed and thought that we have understood the explanations coming from the ministers. In fact, the whole debate was between Honorable Tshabangu and the two ministers, which is very good. He was not muzzled. And I am suggesting that if there is any pertinent amendment that came out of the long discussion, let's have it on the table.
Mr. President, sir, the committee of the whole House has gone through the occupational safety and health bill HB 6 of 2025 as set forth in the accompanying copy, and he has agreed to the same without amendments.
The chairperson of committees reports the Occupational Safety and Health Bill HB 6 2025 without amendment. What day for third reading, Honorable Minister?
Thank you, Mr. President. With leave of the House now.
The Minister seeks leave of the House to have the third reading now. Is there an objection? The question before the House is a motion.
There is an objection, Mr. President.
Objection, Honorable Senator Zizai.
Thank you very much. My objection is centered around an apparent untruth that there was no amendment. And Mr. President, the decorum of this House has been very badly spoiled by presiding leadership that doesn't want to listen and that wants to muzzle and that wants to have things their own way. Now, I don't think this is the way we should run this Senate. Clearly, the minister proposed a slight amendment after Senator Tshabangu debated issues on clause 14. And there was certainly the minister, the lead minister, because you see there's also confusion. Sometimes it's this minister answering, sometimes it's that one, but the minister, the lead minister,
Thank you. Be now read a third time. Is there any debate? No debate. I put the question that the Occupational Safety and Health Bill HB 6 2025 be now read a third time. Those who of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Those of the contrary opinion will say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is accordingly affirmed, and the clerk will read the bill a third time.
Occupational Safety and Health Bill, HB 6 2025.
Congratulations, Honorable Minister. Clerk, approach the chair. You want to do it?
Yes, yeah. That's I recognize Minister of Justice.
Without reverting back.
No. Yeah, you will say I recognize Minister of Justice. You will say
you
I know
propose.
that you relate to order number 1.
Yeah, all right, fine. I recognize the Deputy Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we revert to order number 1.
Is there an objection?
No objection.
Notice of motion number 1. Honorable Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to move that whereas Section 327 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides that any convention, treaty, or agreement acceded to, concluded, or executed by, or under the authority of the President with one or more foreign states of governments or international organizations shall be subject to approval by Parliament. Whereas the Republic of Zimbabwe signed the convention establishing the International Organization for Mediation on 30th of May 2025 in Hong Kong, Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. Whereas the convention will advance and promote the use of mediation and will be a useful complement to existing international dispute settlements mechanisms. And whereas the Republic of Zimbabwe is desirous of ratifying the convention, and now therefore, in terms of section 327, subsection 2A of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, this House resolves that the aforesaid convention be and is hereby approved for ratification. I so submit, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The question before the House is a motion by the Honorable Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, as set forth on page 720 of today's order paper. Is there any debate? Is there any debate? Honorable Senator Mavenyangwa.
Mr. President, ini ndinoona kuti kusaina chibvumirano chakanaka nokuti isu senyika yeZimbabwe tinonyanya kufarira runyararo, tinonyanya kufarira kugara kwakanaka, tinonyanya kufarira kuti kana vanhu vasingawirirani tinoda kuti kuve nekutaurirana kunoita kuti vanhu vagarisane. Nyaya dzekurwa, nyaya dzekukonana tichizoshandisa zvombo, isi senyika yeZimbabwe hatinyanyi kuzvifarira. Saka ndangosumuka ngoti tisapote iyo ingi kuti convention iyi tinoda kuti imba ino tiisapote nekuti inounza runyararo, haiunzi kuteurwa kweropa. Saka handioni sekuti pane zvakawanda kuti pane ungapokana nazvo nekuti inyaya inoita kuti tichengetedze upenyu. Ndatenda, Mr. President.
I put the question that whereas section 3272A of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides that any international treaty which has been concluded or executed by or under the authority of the President with one or more foreign states of government or international organizations shall be subject to approval by Parliament. Whereas the Republic of Zimbabwe signed the convention establishing the International Organization for Mediation on the 30th of May 2025 in Hong Kong, Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. Whereas the convention will
Thank you, Mr. President. We also take this opportunity to appreciate the debate from Honorable Mavenyangwa and also his fair affirmation and supporting the convention he said. And we are thankful for the debate and we appreciate his sentiments. I thank you.
So there being no further debate, I will proceed. I put the question that whereas section 3272A of the Constitution of Zimbabwe provides that any international treaty which has been concluded or executed by or under the authority of the President with one or more foreign states of government or international organizations shall be subjected to approval by Parliament. Whereas the Republic of Zimbabwe signed the convention establishing the International Organization for Mediation on the 30th of May 2025 in Hong Kong, Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China. Whereas the convention will advance and promote the use of mediation and would be a useful complement to existing international dispute settlement mechanisms. Whereas the Republic of Zimbabwe is desirous of rectifying the convention, and now, therefore, in terms of Section 3272A of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, this House resolves that the aforesaid convention be and is hereby approved for ratification. Those who have that opinion will say aye. Those of the contrary opinion will say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is accordingly affirmed, and the aforesaid convention is hereby approved for ratification. Clerk, approach the chair. Honorable Senator Kutora, approach the chair. Heated argument. I decided that we adjourn.
It's okay.
It's okay.
To when?
Tomorrow. Don't say it. You know. Yeah.
It's fine. Thank you.
May I recognize Honorable Minister Shaba?
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I move that the House do now adjourn.
It has been moved that the House do not adjourn. Is there any debate?
No debate.
I put the question that the House do now adjourn. Those who have that opinion will say aye.
Aye.
Those of the contrary opinion will say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The question is accordingly affirmed, and the House is adjourned to what day, Honorable Minister Sham?
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow.
The House is adjourned to tomorrow. Thank you, Honorable Members.